Hi everyone, my name is Kanchan. I'm a counseling psychologist who spends her time helping people create happier, more connected relationships. And I'm so glad you're here today because today I'm going to talk to you about something that will help you make sense of why people have betrayed you, disappointed you, and hurt you. And hopefully, this information will help you go on a journey of understanding yourself better, which is so precious. So, to do this, I will take two different scenarios. Imagine you wake up in the morning and you're feeling fresh and healthy. You are able to admire the beauty of the world around you, look outside the window and see how the sky is so bright and blue, notice the little details in the flowers, the trees, and then when you walk out on the road, you're happy to help even a stranger because you are feeling good about yourself and in a position to give. Now imagine a completely different scenario. You wake up in the morning and you are in pain. There is something that hurt you a few days ago and the wound hasn't healed. Would you be able to notice the same details outside of your window that day? Would you be able to walk out and be willingly able to help strangers? The answer is probably no, because you are preoccupied with trying to heal that pain that you're experiencing and you're desperately finding ways to heal it. The same thing happens when we experience something invisible called emotional pain. The thing to understand is that even with their best intentions, parents end up transferring their own emotional wounds onto their children. Add to that their own stresses, their financial difficulties. When the children are growing up, sometimes they cannot show up for their children in the way that they would even like to. And also, in most homes, children's negative emotions like anger, disappointment, frustration are dismissed. And the child feels lonely in dealing with those emotions themselves. So they know that something is lacking, but they really can't put their finger on it. It is a feeling of not being safe and connected enough, which is so important for every human being to thrive. In order to be able to regain a sense of safety and connection that's lacking with the parent, the child starts to find dysfunctional coping mechanisms. And the first one among those is to create a sense of false safety by controlling things around them, by controlling the behavior of others, by becoming ritualistic, obsessed with things, by becoming superstitious, rigid, rebellious, and different forms of this desperation to create a sense of safety. The second thing that happens is that in order to create some sort of connection desperately with the parent, the child learns to put the needs of the parent first. The child learns to over-accommodate, to please, to be good to others around them, even at the cost of their own needs. And with this begins a lifelong pattern of over-accommodating and of becoming a people pleaser. The other unhealthy pattern that children can adopt is that they decide to grow up quickly. They decide to become mature. They decide that I'm not going to depend on anyone, and they put their emotions aside and move forward in life. The fourth thing that happens is that in order to fill that void, that something that's missing inside, that lack of connection, they decide to use other forms of gratification. So addictions come into the picture. They cannot delay gratification and they, become obsessive shoppers, or they get into substance abuse and various other dependencies. Sadly, none of these coping mechanisms can help a person actually fill that void inside and regain that loss of connection with yourself and with others. Why am I sharing all this with you? Well, for two very big reasons. Firstly, you can use this to sit with yourself and identify your own emotional wounds without any denial or shame. Because you cannot fix and improve something unless you have identified it. And secondly, for all those people that we call unreasonable and toxic and narcissistic, people having OCD, we now know that the reason that they cannot meet our needs in relationships is not because they don't care about us, not because they don't love us enough. It's because they are preoccupied with healing their own emotional wounding. And understanding this will hopefully help us be less triggered by their responses and their behavior. Now, the question to ask is, how do these two people who come together with their respective emotional wounds manage to make a successful relationship? And this could be in the case of a marriage, a partnership, dating, even colleagues at work, friends in the social sphere, parents and children and siblings. Because both deserve to be nurtured, cared for and respected in the relationship. Both deserve to have their needs met. Interestingly, nature always pits together people with very differing personalities. One is going to be broadly the over-accommodating, people-pleasing, helpless, victimized kind of a personality. And the other one will broadly be the controlling, domineering, rebellious kind of personality. And the interplay of these two is actually very complicated. So how do we navigate a relationship like this? I'm going to share this with you in the next video, so stay tuned.